Hello, everybody, and welcome to another multi-dimensional soul program. We have just finished, myself, Gary from Alternative Interaction, sorry, and you are,
Robert
thank you,
Lomax.
Robert Lomax. Please check him out. Links for everything are below in the description. We've just fundamentally finished doing a guided meditation with Robert, and we're now going to go through a kind of decompression and an explanation of. And for those that are, again, I'll say this at the beginning of this show, English is not your first language and you use the subtitles. It would be a very good idea, if possible, to get somebody to read the subtitles and go through the meditation. Robert's voice or words are universal because Robert, you, I, we're all the same being, we're all the same energy. So get one of your friends, family, or a little group of you, get somebody to read the subtitles, and you too can enjoy and experience the experience that we've all just had. So, with that, Robert, we were discussing what came from that. Now, for me personally, everybody, when we went up into the crystal dome with Olaka, the sense of love and peace was unbelievable. It was beautiful. It was lovely. And joy and love and all the worries of the world, all the constraints just dropped off me like water running off a stone, a pebble. It was just beautiful and a lovely experience. Again, please, in the comments section, after reflecting again, if you want to leave comments, please do. Robert, I will respond to them about the experience and how a day or so later you have reflected upon the experience and what you really got from it again. Because sometimes we'll drop comments in of the initial, but when we sit with something for a day or two, more knowings and more experience comes in, and we're able to express that in a different way. So Robert, we were talking about how we are the universe and the universe is us. And this meditation was just a glimpse of the fact that we didn't go anywhere. This was us
Yes.
remembering or experiencing or opening a doorway that we were able to walk through to experience of ourselves, from this multi-dimensional realm. Would you like to expand on that for us, please?
Yeah. I think Orlaka left us in a place where she was saying, remember, this is who you are. So we can remember that whenever we like. Remember that we've got this lovely torus or spherical sphere of aura around us. I know that some people see it as a kind of a body shape. Um, that's one of the constructs of seeing it. You can see it in lots of different ways, um, but this is a way of seeing it as a universal energy and that we are universal. And by attaching to that energy of ourself, as we move around, it might be worth experimenting, walking down a street and sensing everybody and everything through this understanding that you have no constraints, that you have no programs in that way, that you are a free individual, that other people's feelings, you could feel them, but they do nothing to you. It's an experiential way of being. Orlaka also said that we can join with anybody, including her. Um, we can join with any soul, I suppose, because we're part of the same soul. For example, Michael of the Blue Ray, as he's known in spiritual ways, or Saint Michael, as other people have called him, or other deities, you can have a personal interaction with them. The point of focus isn't necessarily on you, because there's a difference between awareness and focus. But you can interact with the, if you want to call it that, the consciousness. So in the same way, if you want to take what you experienced or what you took from that, to know that you can contact and be with any one of those individuals again at any time, is a permission. It's the knowledge that you can. So some of this is realizing that you can, because if we don't have the information that we can, then we're stuck with the existing programs.
That makes an awful lot of sense. Now, don't get hung up on the names. Many people who do healings will see somebody called Jesus. It's the way that their brain, in my understanding, links into an external source, which is the journey. And it's how they perceive and how they work. Does Jesus exist? No, it's just a construct of the mind that's created this to allow that person to have the journey to a certain point. It's part of the journey. The journey part is the important part, not the name of the deity or who you give or who your brain or how you accept that energy to be. Because fundamentally, all you're going to is to yourself. That's the key point. We have been brainwashed and controlled into certain thought patterns and ways of thinking. And by going on these journeys, it's about understanding, hopefully, that there is a different way, there's a different thought process, there's a different energy, and that energy is actually you yourself. Because you didn't go anywhere, did they, Rob?
No, no, the universe is within. It's replicated everywhere. We know there's quantum entanglement, that you do one thing and it affects another part of the universe. So at that level, it's all interconnected. When the Nazarene did exist, and he did have an experience, but it's the way in which religion has manipulated what he said and what he did. I mean, some of the words, it's only through me can you reach whatever. Really, it's only through my ways. In other words, if you think and act like me, if you follow what I'm saying in terms of the fact that you are an individual, a being of light, then through those ways you can reach your true self. So it wasn't that I am going to return or only through me. It's not through him. He was just another guide. There were other guides and deities that have come before. So we're not dismissing that. I think it's well, personally, it's religion and construct and control by other forces that have adopted the light and beings of light and manipulated it for their own purposes.
Yeah, certainly. And those that follow me know that I talk about that manipulation and that control mechanism and grid as the Fibonacci sequence, which is a mimic, but also a parasite that feeds upon us, the true creational energy. Because without us, that would not exist, because it is a third party interloper. And this construct has been inverted, changed by this interloper, and much of the control mechanism placed upon us via the mental constraints of removing that, of changing. We spoke before about the Mandela effect in one of our earlier shows, and how we're in a holographic universe and nothing is real and everything is fluid and is able to be changed. That fluidness and change has been understood fully by the energy of the Fibonacci, and they have inverted and changed and adjusted just enough to make us think in certain ways that are not beneficial to us anymore. And I think part of the big journey that we've got coming up, going from this current frequency realm, from this current frequency realm that we're in, going to another frequency realm, is that our current thought patterns, our ideas of what's going on, are not correct, and we need to drop them. We need to, it's almost like we've got dirty clothes on and we need to wash them before we can go out for the night and enjoy ourselves. We're at the stage where we're now going to start washing those clothes, really cleaning those clothes, which means that we're going to have to start thinking differently.
One of the things that is within that constraint is fear of freedom. Fear of freedom from the constraint itself. Hold to these constraints that we've put in place because that's what keeps you safe within the fear. Safe within fear? I mean, does that sound real? No. But wherever we are within this construct, there's doubt and fear, angst, fighting, and that's safe. We were talking before about the fact that our world has been quarantined, and that at this particular time we've got universal energies that are changing. There are many parts of the universe that are changing and evolving as part of this dynamic process, like a big clock, it's all interconnected. But other beings are able to help us out, certainly on etheric realms and on this realm itself as well, because we're interconnected. Some of us are them, that we've had other experiences within those other alien worlds, and we've forgotten them. We're here. So there is permission. There is an ability for them to help us as them, but also to stop this fungus from growing beyond the constraints that there were. It was, say, within this containment. So, yeah, as we talk, we know it's already happened on one particular level. Yeah.
If for my listeners, for the viewers, if you can remember, and even those that are fairly new to my channel, 9 months ago, maybe longer, I can't remember now. Time has no real meaning for me, unfortunately, these days. Time just is. But we, or I, was certainly talking about Three-Eye Atlas and the representation of this and what it represented. Was it a craft? Is it a consciousness? And the fact that this, we'll call it a craft, has been going to different areas of the perception of the universe, of our galaxy, and potentially changing frequencies and interacting in a way that we can't conceive. What's probably almost certainly going on is that this containment field, if we take my backdrop and this is the containment field, and out here It's all the clock mechanisms and all the parts that work the universe, and we're inside this containment field. Toroidal field is locked down because of that fungus, because of that energy that is not good. If we fall and we fail, because we are the universe and the universe is us, the contagion of that would spread across all consciousnesses, all frequencies, all dimensions. This cannot be allowed to happen. We've spoken about this before. This is a reminder of these words. We have all the help in the world. We are definitely going to get out of this containment field into what we call the 5D in our limited language. This is going to happen. We are being supported. And part of this support mechanism is people like myself and Rob coming together, trying to explain and express and allow you to go on journeys that allow you to drop some of the constraints and make you think. And even if you don't quite understand what we're talking about, hopefully over the coming weeks and months, the energy of our expression will come through and allow you to understand. We are being helped. We are going to get out of here because we already have. It's just in this particular realm, it's linear, it's flat. The timeline is linear and flat. And we have to go through this linear timeline of a story that makes sense to enable us to get out, which is part of the construct, part of the control mechanism. Okay. The time mechanism in here, and I've already gone through this before in previous shows, we call Chronos. Chronos is actually the Fibonacci sequence. It's part of the control mechanism that has kept us in servitude. It's all part of the same mechanism of control that does not exist out there in the same way. We've seen Isabella, myself, and others when we do a pendulum or tarot cards and we ask when, we can never get the answer because the when, the time that we have is a construct that is not positive or good, and so the two do not marry up with each other. Have you got any thoughts on that, please, Robert?
That's all correct. Interesting, we had about 2 or 3 different conversations going on here. The first one was about the meditation and the sense of wonder at being the universe and how to experience that. The next was the bringing it into reality and how we're having these different experiences. A lot of what we've said is the opening side. So if we're opening our awareness, at the same time we're opening our awareness, we're seeing what the constraints are. So we're talking about these constraints and being aware that they are falling by the wayside. So in some ways, just like that meditation where Orlaka talks about the way in which we can free ourselves from mental constraints, how they can fall from us. We can then perhaps see what those mental constraints are as they fall away from us. But once they begin to fall, how much energy do we need to actually place upon those thought patterns that once were? We can actually let go of them. And so whilst we're having this as a reminder about what's going on globally and universally, it's a process. It's actually a process of us because we're the universe. We are part of this magnificent moving awareness like this big clockwork mechanism, if we call it that, where one piece clicks into place where it then means something else, like Three-Eye Atlas is going to come through because that's where that cog clicked at that point. The complexity of that is phenomenal, but the simplicity of it is also phenomenal at the same time. So it kind of depends on where we put our focus. And in many respects, as these patterns, as these thoughts begin to fizzle out, we have permission to fizzle them out. We've started to fizzle them out. We can see that we're letting them go. Once we've de-energized, we don't need to look at them again. We can remain in who we are and what we are, act from that position. So we, as we said before, act from a position as if you are fifth dimensional. So, well, what does that mean, being fifth dimensional? What does it feel like? Perhaps act from the position of being a light being, viewing the world in a different way, seeing it as a program, seeing others interacting in that program, just like Leo did, that we can have compassion for them. We can still be ourselves. We can see it as the program. And the program has less effect on us. Our lives become different because we're not engaging with the program in the same way. Of course, the world goes round, we need food, all of that, as sustenance. But we are changing the world, and the way that we talk to one another, the way we listen, the way we feel, the way that we think, just by being like that. Just, is there any more that we have to do? We don't have to put it right. We're letting it go. It's as simple as that. We don't have to change the structures, the systems. By letting go of them, disengaging with them, that's what we're doing. It's dissipating. The more that do this, the more it dissipates.
No, it's beautifully said. And one of the analogies that came to my mind is when we have a siren going off and we're very close to that siren, it's very loud and it's our main focus. And as we walk away from that siren,
Oh,
the siren's still as loud as it was before, but we're walking away from it, we're leaving it because we no longer want to hear the siren stopping our thought processes and becoming overpowering to us. This noise that's overpowering. As we walk away and as we create distance from letting that go, the siren becomes less and less and less and less until we can't hear it anymore.
and using analogies, we can also then use the Doppler effect. And I'm not trying to be clever here, but it's the same as a sound of an aeroplane when it approaches and it gets closer and closer and closer. But as the aeroplane disappears, it makes a completely different sound. So the perception of the reality of the plane is that the perception, we are perceiving it receding. So eventually we can even let go of the perception of something receding.
Yeah, yeah. Beautifully put. Yeah. We are loved. We are love. We are supported. We have so much support. We're awesome. All of you are awesome. To get this far when that fungus, that control mechanism, has thrown everything it's got at us. Thousands of years of knowledge and energy it has pummeled us with. And yet here we are. Here we are, We know it, we see it. No more. We do not consent. Goodbye. Jog on.
Yes. And I think the jogging on is the other part of the Doppler effect. We can see it receding, fine. It's gone. And eventually that, as you said, Gary, the noise will disappear, the siren. What are we left with? We're left with not focusing on that. We're left with focusing on ourselves, seeing that we are information and energy and choice and freedom of choice. I think it would be good to expand some of these other ideas that we've talked about, perhaps ideas from people and what they experienced, whether they've got any thoughts or questions about those. I know we've got a lot of other questions, as you said, coming up, like karma. What does it mean?
Yeah.
Something we talked on before we started, which was our idea of karma has been manipulated. Return energy. We create energy, the energy comes back to us in some event. But because we've caused suffering, doesn't mean that we then have to suffer. That is a program that was created by negative forces in order to control us. So the idea of return energy has been manipulated. We have the choice in how to treat that returned energy. So these are some really interesting subjects, kind of moving forward away from even what we've done today to see there is much more to look at and discover as we have moved away from listening to something receding in the distance. What are we left with? What opportunities? What other information of the universe is going to give us as we're dropping go of the existing constructs? And that's the exciting part. What really is there now showing itself. So even, I suppose, talking about karma and letting go of the old idea of karma is a part of the aeroplane disappearing. And
Yeah.
so eventually that disappears as well.
Yeah. I think the karma one would be a really good program for us to do next. I think that would be awesome. I'd also, perhaps, if we have time while dealing with the karma one, about the thought processes and where do our thoughts come from
Yes.
and how our thought process interacts with the karmic cycle or non-karmic cycle, and how this mechanism works. It's complicated, but it's also not. And perhaps we'll be able to express that and break that down in ways that people understand. And we can then start again to break down these control mechanisms, these thought patterns that are not correct, that need challenging. And then everyone can decide for themselves, once the information's in front of them, how they proceed, because it's an individual experience that we're all having. Remember that. We've spoken about the car journey. One wants clothes, one's hungry. The car goes in the same direction. We go through the same place. The holography is exactly the same. Two very different experiences. And there's nothing wrong with either experience. Both of them are very valid and important. So, with that, shall we leave the audience with the next show going to be on karma and thought processes? And there we go.
Energy return and energy creation.
Well said. Energy return and energy creation. There we go, everyone. So with that, everybody, thank you very much for watching. We appreciate your support and all your comments. We read them all. As a footnote privately, emails I am terrible with. And I apologise for those that have sent me emails. I still haven't got to them. I do get an awful lot of emails, as you can imagine. So generally the comment section in YouTube is the best way to get hold of me or to ask something often, unless it's personal and private. Please do email me, and I apologize if I haven't got back to you so far. So, with that, everybody, love, light, and blessings, and thank you very much, and we'll catch up with you
Bye.
very soon. Bye.